pew,
Pew, pew, pew, pew, pew,
pew, pew. I hope you didn't hear the other stuff that was just said. Pew, 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 pew.
Because I really just kind of screamed.
Right in my ear, it happened like that.
I wonder if I can reach them.
So, what going on, everybody? Whoop, whoop. Look, we got room.
I can stretch. It's just me here. Don't mind this guy. It's just me.
Oh. Look at all the room we got. Watch this. Watch this. Woo!
Look, you can actually see all of my face now.
Woo! We can move around.
Maybe they did. Carol, we're live. Oh, did they hear that too?
Probably.
Oops. Sorry, y'all.
We can be like, ooh, we can do the no square dance. Got all the room.
I'm fixing to really mess with them again. She's going to be like, are you serious? It's cold out. Yes, it is cold out. Eating popcorn and watching the Bears and playing rummy.
You just gotta be that way.
Jason, you losing weight. Hey, can you go in the my bear jacket and look in the pocket? Is Blaze's thing? Woohoo, elbow room. I know, right?
Right. What's up?
You know what that makes me think of, right? You have to tell everybody this story. So while the shoemakers were here, we had to kind of limit a little bit of what we could watch. Because you have littles, toddlers. 3, 6, and 9. Like their oldest is 3 years younger than our youngest. So we had to kind of.
He's 4 years old now.
Oh yeah, he's 4. So yeah. Anyway, so we Hey, Two Family, what's up? Oh, I don't like you. Got more crawfish to eat. Have fun. Talk soon. Okay, so anyway, we were watching.
Don't slam the door.
Something like the Animal Planet-ish. Don't slam the door. There you go. So we were watching something similar to Animal Planet on the Disney Channel, like National Geographic or something like that. And they were talking about all of these birds.
The tropical birds and how the males clean up they clean the house.
Yep.
And then they do a dance
to get the girls'
attention. And so
there was this one
bird that he would come in and go like this.
Oh God, you're shaking. And then he'd shake his
And so it was so funny.
Well, I mean, it's funny to watch the actual bird, right? Like on the screen. Because he was all of these like really bright colors. So as he moved, like it was really, really, there was a lot of color on the screen. And so we were watching it, and then, like, what was it, like a day or two later? You were standing in the hallway trying to get my attention.
And I was flirting
and
with
all
you.
of a sudden, I look up, and he's doing what y'all just saw, that full dance. And I was dying, because I was like, oh my God, the lengths that my husband goes to make me laugh and to make me feel special all at the same time was just, it was awesome. So now every once in a while when I need a laugh, he'll do that for me. It's pretty funny. Jason's been taking notes.
Yep.
Except for the fact we're cleaning the house. No, I'm just kidding. Girlfriend!
So, as you can tell, we are alone. The shoemakers left.
Live chat, yes. Wednesday?
Tuesday, Wednesday?
Wednesday, I think.
Tuesday, Wednesday. And they decided to go. They're up in a state park somewhere waiting to get their camper fixed. And so we wish them all of the best of luck. We really appreciate everything that they did while they were here. They worked really hard while they were here helping, trying to burn a stump.
That took forever.
They built a quail house, helped us get the calf pen together real quick.
Yep.
And so we appreciate it. We wish them the best of luck.
Yep.
We hope they move kind of close to us, so maybe one day we can return the favor.
Yep. Good.
All of them, including blowing up their bathroom.
No. Mm-mm. He was so funny. He's still apologizing for that. I'm so sorry. So now that season has passed, now it's time for us to really kind of get back into the swing of things.
Groove.
Ah, they're going to have the shoemakers on Monday night. Cool. It'll be a good show. Y'all will enjoy that. Yeah. So we're now trying to get back into the swing of things because we had a very...
Should have known better. Nobody saw that. Smart I am. Kidneys.
So,
only my moderator saw that.
You know I have to hide that. So now it's kind of to get back into the swing of things, get back into our routine, and kind of get some things going. We had to go get feed this morning, so that was like, if you saw the thumbnail, there you go. If you saw the thumbnail, you saw there was a picture of Jason and I, and then there was a picture of Ladessa. We had to go get feed today, so that was fun.
Hi,
Miss Karen.
Miss Windswept.
Donkey. There you go. Say rear end, Paul.
So, the shoemakers left, and then the very next day... Was it the very next day? I think it was it was Friday. Yeah, it was Friday.
What? Oh, right. So, he did another one and I missed it. What did it say? What did he hide that time?
So,
oh, that's funny.
On Friday, we went to the mailbox.
We just got a letter.
And boom.
Wonder who it's from.
We just got a letter.
Jason, you know what really blows up a toilet? Cherry bombs. Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
And so, we got a letter.
We got a letter from our recruit.
On official Marine Corps documentation paper.
Yep.
Motivated paper, because it's got motivation stuff right there. And so, I figured we would read it to you guys. Because there's nothing real
super personal
in here. So, I'm going to try to read as far as I can go without getting choked up. Or at least laughing. Because to understand why I want to get choked up, you got to be a Marine. I mean, I'm sorry, but I mean, that's just the only way to really understand it. It says, "Dear family, the last few days have been chaotic to say the least. I was standing on the yellow footprints about 20 minutes before I called you. Even as scared as I was of the hungry DIs bearing down on me, I couldn't help but feel a certain serenity as I stood there and was introduced to the island. I don't know how else to describe it other than say that I was standing on hallowed ground. After that, it was a little rough. We spent the next 24 hours marching from building to building, in the rain to get our gear issued. I think we finally got to sleep around 2200 Tuesday night. I'm sorry. She's laughing a little bit harder than I thought. That's another thing. There aren't any clocks anywhere.
Dragon's Talon. Jason, that can't be an official USMC letter. There aren't any crayon crumbs on it. Thanks, Dragon's Talon.
Any clocks anywhere. It's been interesting adjusting to never knowing the exact time, but why are my eyes burning?
But I've been staying pretty busy.
I've been staying too busy to really worry about it.
Yeah.
We haven't done any PT yet, but I think that's because the IST is tomorrow. IST is the initial strength test. We'll also meet our DIs, which I'm honestly looking forward to. Thus far, we've been rotating between a team of receiving DIs who all have different ways of doing things. My favorite part about the island so far is probably hearing the more advanced platoons drilling. I absolutely love the sound of the cadence being called amongst the rhythm of the footsteps. My least favorite part is the apathy of some of the recruits here. Their lack of drive is constantly getting us into trouble. The only time...
Do you want to read that or you want me to?
No, okay. I'm going to do it. The only...
This is funny, y'all.
The only time that I've been singled out and screamed at was when I accidentally spooked a DI. What had happened was I was walking down the hallway between the classroom and the restroom when I passed by a DI. As is customary, I sounded off, "Good morning, sir," and continued to walk on. What I didn't see is it made him jump and spill his coffee down his shirt. I swear the DIs dropped from the ceiling. And all of a sudden, there was like 5 on me. But I kept my composure. And once they had their fun, he hollered, "Good scream, recruit," as I was running away.
Do you want to read that next part?
Yeah, why not?
I'm just, because you never know who's watching.
So who could be
what
watching?
We talked about before with the Facebook groups. It's just I don't know.
Even now, I'll skip it. Even now, as I'm laying here in bed, 3 DIs have congregated in the DI quarters in our barracks. A kid on fire watch just banged on the wall and asked a question, to which the DIs, probably 2-ish, 26-ish, replies, "Shut up! I'm playing with my friends." Anyway, I love and miss y'all, even if I am enjoying myself a little. Oh, and I almost forgot. We got our M16A4 service rifles yesterday. We don't sleep with them yet, but I enjoy marching with them, and I really look forward to shooting it. Don't worry, Dad. The serial number is already memorized. I gotta stop touching my face. That letter cracks me up. I laugh so hard. And the reason why I laugh so hard is, one, I can actually see my son having to go, waiting till the last second to have to go to the bathroom because he really doesn't want to ask, and starts booking it down.
Yep. And then gets caught by
the hallway, and then he sees this other DI, and he's like, "Oh." And so he goes, slows down, starts walking by, and starts going, "Morning, sir!" And that DI goes, "Oh."
And that was only, like, that was written on that Thursday.
Yeah.
So they had only been there for a few days.
Yeah.
And he's already known as the kid that made a DI pour coffee on himself.
So we had some other paperwork that came with it, and we had we had to take to his recruiter this morning.
Which it was his first recruit, so we wanted to make sure that he got the letter.
And
visited with them for a few minutes.
Visit with them, let them read the letter.
Hey, April.
Because, like Robyn said, Blaze was his recruiter's very first kid he sent to the island. Mm-hmm. And so he was extremely nervous because he heard all of these horror stories about
the moment of truth.
The moment of truth when kids get up there and they just bloop.
And we had a little bit of a scare. We didn't really share with anybody, but one day, Paul and them were here when it happened. Yeah. All of a sudden, I had been out on the road with my sales manager, and I did not look at my phone all day. So at the end of the day, I looked at my phone, and I had a missed call from Beaufort, South Carolina. Mm-hmm. And the only thing we know about Beaufort, South Carolina is Parris Island. So I tried to call it, but I didn't see it till after 6. So I called, and I didn't even get a thank you for calling or anything like that. It literally said extension, blah, 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 leave a message. Mm-hmm. So I left a message, but then the next day, and so of course that night I was a wreck. Like, I did not sleep well. So the next morning, I'm at work. Jason texts me. He's like, hey, are you going to call that number back? And I was like, I guess I will. So I call it back, and right away it's like, Lance Corporal so-and-so, how can I help you? And I was like, oh, God. I was like, somebody call me from this number. I just wanted to return it because I don't know what it was. Nobody left a message. And he explained to me that basically that Jason had okay, that's fine. Basically, Jason still had Blaze listed as a dependent through the VA.
For the schooling.
For schooling. And when they ran his social, they found out that he was still listed as a dependent, so they just needed Jason's social to be able to remove him. And so I was like, they're like, yeah, he's getting his ID card, everything's good. So then we're like, so then I started doing the math, because when they do that scripted phone call, and he gets so irritated with me on this, when they do the scripted phone call, they say, you will receive a letter from me in 7 to 10 days. So, in my brain, even if I just assume that's Tuesday, that would either be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? Like, that's anywhere from Tuesday to Friday. So, starting Tuesday, I was like, have you checked the mail? Have you checked the mail? Have you checked the mail? Jesus, woman, yes, I've checked the mail. There's nothing there. Okay. So, by Thursday, I had given up. I was like, I'm just done with this. My mentality was, I'm just not even going to look for it anymore. But he was getting frustrated because I was still like, so I guess we're not getting a letter right away. And he's like, Robyn, it's only been. I was like, but they said 7 to 10 days. I'm not even gonna dignify that, Robyn. I'm like, okay, fine. So then he says to me, guess what?
No, I sent you a Marco Polo.
Oh yeah.
I sent her a Marco Polo, holding the letter out and going, and I'm gonna read it before you. Mm-hmm. And this letter meant the world to me. Mm-hmm. And because, truth be known, I was sweating it. Okay? Parris Island is not easy. Mm-mm. If it was easy, it would be the Air Force.
Jab, jab.
They challenge you. They break you down, mm-hmm. and they build you up. The United States Marine Corps is the world's elite fighting force. And to be part of that elite fighting force, you just can't be somebody who's looking for the least possible effort for a military experience.
Oh, you're so mean.
And
it's just what you call it. Anyway. Force. Hold on, he's typing.
And so with Blaze, and I know this because I'm his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm not his father, but I'm his dad.
It's just
I know, but I'm also listening for the yotes. And I know my son better than he knows himself.
Mm-hmm.
And there are times when Blaze gets challenged, Blaze quits.
Mm-hmm. If it gets too hard.
Yeah. And I was sweating it. To be honest with you, I was sweating it. I was sweating him getting in his own head and defeating himself.
He's his own worst enemy at times. Like, we used to always tell him, like, that was the problem. that was his only thing that would ever stop him is himself.
Mm-hmm.
And we always told him that. And that was the only thing that we were truly worried about, is that he would get there and...
Well, I was worried about another thing, and I'm still a little worried about it.
Anyway.
So, reading the letter that I just read to y'all, that letter screams to me of motivation and dedication.
Mm-hmm.
Like I told Robyn, I said, look, before you read this,
Mm-hmm.
before you read this, you need to understand, your son did not just drink a glass of Kool-Aid. He went up to the Kool-Aid bar, grabbed the keg, snapped the spigot off of it, and did a keg stand on it.
Mm-hmm. Because
when you enjoy drill that much and it gets in you like it has him, there is really not much that's going to stop him. My son will graduate on May 22nd. I have no doubt. Except I'm afraid he may drown.
With the swim qual.
Because see, my son is strong.
Hey, Kaylee, what's up?
He is strong. He is motivated and he is determined. But my son barely weighs 120 pounds. And when he goes off that high dive, carrying equipment that weighs about 160 pounds, going into the water, which is going to make everything weigh a whole bunch more, I am really concerned that when he tries to push back up,
he's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere. And I don't know how far he has to go in swim qual.
Mm-hmm. We'll find out.
So we'll find out, because one of the things that Paul and I did one night, because we got kind of all pumped up, we started watching different basic videos, basic training videos on YouTube. And we were both like, really? This is basic training now? Yeah. And Paul was like, just turn it off. Just because this is just giving you too many jokes. Because they had a little group and they were talking about their feelings at Air Force boot camp. And but I think, he may just be a bob, where he comes down, bobs back up, gets some air, boop, boop, boop. And
when Ian had to drop into the ocean, he was not a good swimmer.
And so other than that, I think he's going to be fine. Mm-hmm. He's going to come out, and we have a tradition in my family now. And what's really cool, what's super cool, and this is just all God. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's no way to explain this other than God. My dad went to boot camp back in 1976, end of 75, early 76. My dad was in 2nd Battalion. I went to boot camp end of 94, beginning of 95. I was in 2nd Battalion. Mm-hmm. Blaze is in 2nd Battalion. Mm-hmm. this doesn't happen, folks.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
It's pretty cool.
And I was Echo Company, Blaze's Hotel, and I'm waiting on my mama for her to tell me what company Daddy was with. But to be that in that battalion and have our companies be that close, kind of close together, is really stinking cool. Mm-hmm. And so Robyn and I are going to order some pocket watches that have the Marine Corps emblem on them. And then when you flip it open, it's going to have it'll say 2nd Battalion, like mine will say 2nd Battalion Echo Company, Platoon 2076, April 14th, 1995. My dad's will say 2nd Battalion, whatever company, his platoon, and the date that he graduated. Blaze's will say 2nd Battalion, Hotel Company, his platoon, and the date that he graduates. Mm-hmm. And then on the inside of the box, because they're going to have a nice box with them, mm-hmm. is going to be a picture. Like in my dad's, it'll be his graduation boot camp picture. In mine, it will be my boot camp graduation picture
with your
and
dad.
My, because we have we started it with me in front of the Iwo Jima statue. It went my grandfather, my daddy, me. When Blaze graduates, it'll be my daddy, me, and Blaze. Mm-hmm. And then so in my box, it will have my graduation picture and then the picture of me, my daddy, and my grandfather. In Blaze's, it'll have his graduation picture of my daddy, me, and Blaze. Mm-hmm. And then when Blaze has kids, if one of them decides to join the Marine Corps, it will continue on. And by then, my dad will probably be passed. So I will bring his box to, which would be my grandchild's graduation. Mm-hmm. And we will take that picture and I will hold my daddy's box with it open so that way his picture can be there. And then all of us will still be there, so that because that would be the fourth generation Marine we'd have, and then so on, and it goes on. It will go on down the pipeline, and so then that way the newest Marine will be basically as passed. It'll go from father to son, father to son, father to son, or father to daughter, da 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 da, on down the line. Unfortunately, my family, Robyn's family, there's not a lot of heirloom hand-me-down stuff. I don't know what happened somewhere along the line, but that stuff kind of stopped. And that's something that I want to continue on. I want my son to have something to remember my dad, me, that he'll be able to show his kids. Yes, mm-hmm. I'm a Marine, but so was your granddad, and so was your great-granddad. Mm-hmm. And when he goes to have the conversations with his kid, and his kid comes up and is like, hey, Dad, I'm joining the Corps, dude. He'll be able to sit him down, and if, my daddy's gone and if the Lord calls me home, he'll be able to open up those boxes and say, you're gonna feel something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that was one of the things that Robyn and I was talking about his letter when he said he was standing on those footprints and he felt like he was standing on hallowed ground.
Yeah. And
you asked if I believe that if, like when we go some places, if like a part of our energy is still not there. And, and I was like telling Robyn, I said, look, every Marine that ever came through before they, Chesty Puller, Mad Dog, all those guys had to start there. And they had to stand on those yellow footprints. They had to go through those doors.
They just had, the guy that got the Medal of Honor not too long ago, his whole face got blown up. He just did one of the graduations just recently. And, to think that guy stood on those footprints. You know, that all of these people stood. And my son is one of those people that thinks about stuff like that. You know, he thinks about the history that's just oozing out of those buildings. And so, you know, he gets caught up in stuff like that. So it was nice to see that he, you know, he can appreciate it. So that was really cool. There was a question about if we're going to the shindig.
Unfortunately,
we're not going to be able to.
No, we're not going to be able to make it to the shindig this year.
Because of Blaze's quick...
Blaze was originally scheduled to ship off for boot camp in June.
Yes.
And an opening came up, and Blaze scored just crazy high on the ASVAB, and then on intelligence tests, and then on the very last intelligence test. And some other kid dropped out, and they looked at Blaze and said, "We can 100% guarantee you this job if you leave." Bam.
In 12 days.
In 12 days. And so he came home and said it, and I was like, go. Go, 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 go. Robyn got a little upset, but to get a 100% guarantee for a specific job, that whether you stay in 4 years or 20 years, when you walk out, you're going to be looking at a 6-figure income. Why would I...
Wow.
Why would I want to be selfish like that and say, no, I want you here till June? Yeah. Couldn't do that to him. No, go.
Yeah. I just lost my uncle at 100 years old. He served 2 terms under General Patton.
Wow.
That is stupid cool.
That is way cool.
Yeah, I think, you know, I wasn't like super upset. I was just kind of like shocked because you go from being prepared to say goodbye in 3 or 4 months, and instead it's like less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so that was the issue. Was just shock. I wasn't upset because at the end of the day, it's exactly what Jason said. The idea that he would be guaranteed what he wanted, that's huge. So you don't balk at that. Like the guys asked Blaze right after, you know, he agreed to it. They were like, "Well, are you scared about going so fast?" And he's like, "No, I'm scared about the conversation I have to have with my mom that I'm leaving in 12 days. Yeah. He wasn't worried about Paris Island. He was worried about me. So, and then like for the next couple of days, he definitely like checked on me. He would come up and give me a hug and be like, "Are you okay? Is everything all right?" And honestly, I'm taking it. There's a lot of Facebook. If any of y'all have ever been through this, you might know, but there are a lot of Facebook groups out there for like support while your kid is in basic. And there are times when I like feel like I'm like this bad mom because like when I got the phone call, I mean, Paul and Katie will tell you, like, I was devastated. Like I had to walk out of the room.
It's mostly my fault because I did not handle that phone call well.
He giggled and laughed and was like, "Yes!"
Butt off.
And I was like, I had to walk outside. And he was like, "You know, I don't understand why you're upset." And I was like, "Look, we're coming from 2 totally different backgrounds. You know what's going on there. I don't. I can't see his face. I can't see his body language. I don't know what the heck is going on the other side of that phone call." And so that messed with me. And then 2 days later to get that phone call and not know what was going on, that freaked me out. But the next day when I called, like I'm sure you noticed, my demeanor totally changed. Because once I called and found out that he was getting his ID, like he was getting his picture done for his ID, I was like, okay, he's done. He's good to go. We'll leave him alone. I will see him in 13 weeks. And it kind of changed after that. Like, up until that point, I was scouring all the Facebook groups for pictures, and this could be him, and that might be him. And then I just got to the point where I was like, this is just pointless. And while I understand that some people have a hard time saying goodbye to their children, their son or daughter, I am more excited of this chapter in Blaze's life. Like, I'm really excited about it. And so, like, I'm seeing people say stuff like, oh, my son's going to have his birthday, and it's the first birthday, I'm not going to be there. And I'm like, it's birthday. Like, are you really getting upset about this? Like, so, like, I feel like, sometimes I feel like I'm like this horrible mom that I'm not like, oh, my baby. But then I'm like, no, I ain't got time for that. He's his own person. And then, of course, once getting this letter, that just solidified it. Like, because you can still see his personality in the email, or the mail. So we know he's not, like, so upset that he's just not even himself. You know, we were talking about this, the letter, it's like, you knew it was Blaze. Like, he just, I could see him walking, like you said, holding it till the last minute, trying to hurry up and get down there and come back. And then, you know, it was very clear that he is okay where he is.
Yeah, and that letter, to me, seemed more like I was getting a letter from summer camp. Not a kid that was at United States Marine Corps boot camp. You know, because one of these, and see, I got aggravated with those Facebook groups and I left. I cannot deal with people not wanting to cut. I guess the politest way and the best way to say this. What's up, Southern Ohio Prepping Brother? How's it going? I'm sorry I missed y'all's live stream. That was right before us, your buddy's live stream, but the Hey guy showed up. That's just a whole different story. Anyway, the people in this group, and I just maybe it's just because they don't understand. Maybe it's just because they can't comprehend what's happening. The United States Marine Corps is the world's elite fighting force. They're the first ones in and the last ones out. And there was a couple of posts on there about how it seems drill instructors were getting too close, too much interface, and
just leave it alone. She'll get it.
With and it looked like that they were spitting.
Yes.
And I finally kind of had enough, and I left the post and then stuck around.
You post your own thing.
Yeah. And here's my thing. Just leave it be. Here's my thing. For those of for those of you that's been there, you know how stressful combat is. You know how loud it is. You know how chaotic it is. You know how you don't know which end is up, which end is down, and you just want to make it through to the next day. The drill instructor's job is to not only create basically trained Marines, but it's also to create a warlike situation so that you can prepare yourself for high stress situations.
Yeah, I mean, from the minute that they get there, they're screaming in their face, and they're trying to cause confusion so that they learn to deal with confusion and to make good decisions in the middle of confusion, because that's what you want. You don't want them to be sitting there with everything quiet and learn how to make decisions. That's not how it works. No. Because it's like you said, Marines are riflemen first and foremost. Like, before anything else, that's what they are. Yeah. And
so, and I put in the group, I don't care if a drill instructor spits in my kid's face.
I don't want him to.
I don't care if he cusses at my kid. I don't care if he hits my kid.
He smacks him.
Because at the end of the day, what they do on that island is still a heck of a lot safer than what could happen to him out there in some of these other countries, because just because we abide by the Geneva Convention
Camp Patton.
doesn't mean the rest of the world does.
Exactly.
And if my son getting smacked upside the head because he did something crazy at boot camp makes him remember something, or gives him that extra
kick,
or extra determination to stay squatted down behind something as his legs start to hurt because he's been there for 45 minutes, it gives him that extra ability to stay squatted down so he don't get drugged behind a truck through downtown Baghdad. Go, drill instructor, go.
Mm-hmm. You don't want someone who needs a safe space. Exactly. Well, and somebody said you fight like you train like you fight, and you fight like you train. Mm-hmm. So you have to, you train like you fight, so you can fight like you train, and that's exactly right. Yeah. You want them to be so prepared so that when something like that does happen, it's muscle memory. It's like no big deal. Yeah. And so that's the thing.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and in these groups, what's happening is that they think and I really truly believe that it's one of these ideas where it's the road to hell paved with good intentions. Because there are some parents out there that like, well, I'm there on base, I might as well take a few pictures and post them up so if anybody sees their kid. But the problem with that is that then you have DIs walking around like they're on eggshells because they're afraid that somebody might get a picture of something that they're doing that is full within their realm to do, but then somebody makes a stink about it, and then it cuts their feet out from under them, and that's not the way it should be.
Mm-hmm. And so, as great as social media is, and how wonderful it is to help us connect with one another and to help us reach out and find old friends and to do things like this, I completely 100% disagree with being able to create groups for...
Oh my God. Really?
Groups that they can go on to train it. Not just the United States Marine Corps, but with the Army, Air Force, Navy, any of those branches.
And they can go onto the base.
And they can go onto the base and take pictures.
And from what I understand, they're actually, I don't know the right word to use it, but laymen that go onto the base and take pictures to post on stuff too. And I just don't think that that's a good idea. So somebody said yellow stress cards in basic training now. What the crap? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, I heard about those. I think Paul was telling me about those.
Yeah.
But
yeah, we have no doubt in our mind at this point that Blaze is going to do exceptionally well.
Yep.
We're hoping that he gets some kind of a leadership position. That would be really cool if he does. But of course, we won't really know anything. We kind of did the math. It takes about a week for something to get out.
Aloha!
Because he wrote it Thursday night, mailed it probably Friday morning. It got to us Friday. So we're thinking it takes about a week for things to kind of get through-ish.
It's hard to tell right now, and to be honest with you, because they were in receiving.
That's what I wanted to look at the postmark.
And Blaze wrote it on Thursday, but he may not have handed that in.
It didn't get put in the mail until the 4th.
Right. Till he got already picked up with his drill instructors. And...
yeah, the 4th.
And with... his platoon, and the male recruit came around and picked everything up.
Right.
You know, so...
I was in service. I wouldn't want my family posting photos of me on social media in case they become a target. Right, so that was one of the things that they were saying is not that it interferes with OPSEC, but it's still, you know, like even with this letter, we censored something because there's something in there that we don't want, just in case, because some of y'all have told us that there were friends of y'all's that were DIs, and we've heard horror stories that DIs' wives get in Facebook groups, and I feel like I'm just going to kind of leave that one sentence out of there because they'll figure that out on their own. But, you know, I think the best thing is to just stay away from it because, one, it sucks up your time. Because you end up getting all these pictures and you start scrolling through them and you can just make yourself crazy over it. So,
So.
By the way, everybody wish Cheryl a happy birthday.
Yep.
Today was her birthday.
So,
She just got back from her night out on the town.
All right, are you ready? 1.
I already sang her happy birthday.
We're going to do it again. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Cheryl. Happy birthday to you.
Have some of that fantastic toilet water on us tonight.
Cheers, big ears. And don't wear any red. Just saying. Mine's empty.
I'm sorry for you. So,
anyway.
Cheryl's birthday.
Yes, Cheryl's birthday. I would like to know what these new military recruits think that the enemy forces are going to do to them. Holding up a yellow stress card is not going to cause a ceasefire. Right? So, like, I think that the standards for basic and trainee regiment needs to go back to what it was during World War II.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you that before Blaze even thought about being in the Marine Corps, I had made the comment that because they kept saying that boot camp was a lot easier than it used to be, that I even said to Jason, I said, you know, it makes me worry about what kind of military we have now. Like, if we really had to go to war, like, what would our military look like right now? Mm-hmm. You know, that bothered me. Yep. But it seems like the Marine Corps, with probably few adjustments, is still doing it the Marine Corps way. So I feel like they're still getting them. They're just being a little bit more creative about how they do it. So anyway,
look, I'm now considered old Corps. My dad is considered old
old Corps.
Yeah, like, I mean, what did Blaze ask Daddy? What was it like to be at boot camp with Chesty Puller or something like that? Well, that was very funny, by the way. And but
is your son going to be a specialist or a ground pounder? Neither.
He's pretty much going to be a specialist. Mm-hmm. He is going into a unique field.
Yeah. So Cheryl broke her hand. She got frustrated with her freezer.
Oh, I thought she went to the bowling alley and bowled a turkey.
You're so bad. No, she poloed me and she's like, look at my head. So, anyway, I hate to break it up, people, but if you have a military job, break it to people. But if you have a military job that has you go through SEER school and advanced survival school, a stress card ain't gonna help. Nope. I know, right? Had an argument with the freezer and the freezer won. Yep.
So where are we at on our homestead now that it's back to us?
Just us.
Just us being here. Well, let's see. Like Robyn said earlier today, we had to go do a feed run today.
I got some new barrels because for the last couple of months, or maybe a year, I don't know, I wasn't involved in the actual feed runs themselves. So the other day, last Saturday, I had to go do the feed run just to make it easier on everybody. And when I got there, realized that our barrels, the lids don't fit. Like, they're bent and destroyed. And I had to drive home with the barrels without lids on them. And I was just really ticked off that I had stuff flying out while we were gone. So I stopped at a feed supply store. They had metal barrels for $20. So I bought 3 of them and replaced the ones that we had. And so we went and picked those up today so that we could fill some of them. And then we went through and filled everything up, got that taken care of. Then we had to take the letter. There was a letter in there for Blaze's recruiter. So we took that to him, and we came back. Then we had to go get...
I wanted a 6x6, but I got to looking at it and decided on a 4x6, 4x6 by 12, for the Dragon's Talons milking barn. As you know, Dragon's Talon is one of our longtime subscribers, and he has blessed us so many different times with super chats. So we have named our milking barn after him, and so we're basically taking the super chat money and rebuilding our milking barn. And so we went and purchased a 4x6 by 12 and a gate, a milking barn gate for the milking barn. And one of the things that Paul and Katie helped us with is they helped us get that whole area
cleaned out.
Basically reclaimed. They helped us get it all cleaned out. And so now we're building a temporary milking stall, so then that way we can build the frames and get the concrete poured.
Night, Mama.
For the floor. And what we had to do is we had to fabricate a ramp. And this is where I'm probably going to have to call on Mr. Windswept to come down, because him and I have been discussing this on the phone about how to build this ramp up, so that way because I hurt my back in the Marine Corps, and so for me to be able to sit down on a little milking stool and get in there and hook up the milking machine, or even hand milk, it's really gonna hurt my back. And I have come so far with acupuncture, I really don't want to start going backwards. Yeah. And so Mr. Windswept and I have been discussing about how to do this, because at first I thought about just digging it out, kind of like how it is at a dairy, and being able to
walk down into
it and everything like that. But then my thought process was that way I could just bring my other stuff in and change oil for vehicle stuff down in that, but it would have to be so deep that it wouldn't be feasible to be able to milk.
Well, and then Paul brought up a good point about having to have drainage, being able to have to put, some kind of drain in there, and where are you going to put that water?
Right.
So somebody likes my pants. Aren't they nice? I got Supergirl, Wonder Woman. Sorry.
And so...
Hey! Is that the Max? That's, I can't ever remember her name and his name. But I know who they are. I'm sorry.
And so we got a bunch of 2x6s. We're going to frame in the area that needs to be concreted, and then I'm going to concrete that floor. Well, first I'm going to put a drain in.
Right.
Run the drain out, concrete it in, and then we're going to build up this ramp stall. It's probably going to have to be ramped on both sides so the cow can walk up.
And then
There'll be a gate closed right there, a little feed bucket. Once they're done, we can open up the gate on this side, and they can walk down,
the other one.
And then probably have to have an exit with probably a chute or something over here in this area with some cattle panels or something. So
Misty and Colby, there it is. I knew Misty. I can see them plain as day, and just didn't remember their names. Misty and Colby.
So that the cow can hang out over there, because at any given point in time we could have 3 cows and milk it at once.
Right.
And so that way it can just be one up, bring the next one in, bring the next one in, and then take all 3 of them back to their designated areas to go.
Right.
So the Dragon Talons milking barn is in full effect. The construction has been going on. We are getting ready to start building panels to be able to kind of close it in, pulling out some of the old rotted wood and joists. We're going to redo the roof. We're going to put a rainwater catchment system on it, so that way when the cows get done getting milk, there'll be a water trough right there on the outside that will be fed via rainwater catchment. And so, because one of the most important things for a lactating cow is water. You need to let them have as much water as they want, as they can consume.
Yeah.
That way then the volume of the milk stays high. And so...
Yeah, see, And that's why I know who they are, because when we were, we didn't have a chance to meet them yet. But Misty and Colby, I'm following them on Instagram, and they were posting pictures of their milk that they're getting, and I was like, oh, I cannot wait. So they're milking 2 cows right now, so I'm sure they're getting plenty of butter and cream and all that lovely stuff. So I'm jelly just a little bit.
And so then, after that section of the Dragon Talons Milking Barn is done, we're going to move on to the second section of it, and that's going to be kind of like a little dairy kitchen kind of thing. It's going to have a refrigerator in there. We would eventually like to invest in a cream separator, because we are going to also be getting some milk goats, possibly another milking type animal. It's not a camel, but it's another one, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, because some friends of ours, they're going to start kicking something like that off when they land, and so I don't want to steal any thunder from them, because they're very knowledgeable.
Yeah, they said that tons, but worth it and fun. Yeah, we've been in milk before. We've never had 2, but we have had one that was we had a Holstein, and she put out a ton. I mean, we're getting like 5 or 6 gallons a day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so, once the Dragon Talons Milking Barn will be done, we are going to get a nice sign. I'll probably make a nice sign that says Dragon Talons Milking Barn.
Yeah, and we'll post that up there.
Maybe put that up there, and of course those pictures and stuff will be on Instagram.
Yeah.
And so then we've got our killing station for processing our chickens finished with the plucker. We've painted the plucker. Paul put on a new tension pulley for us. And so that's good to go.
Robyn, how's the garden? Did you figure out what you're going to do with the arches? Yes, I'll talk about that in just a second. Dragon's Talon, man.
Thank you, Dragon's Talon.
Thank you so much. Dairy alligators, no. That's funny.
That's funny.
And that's Katie, too.
Yep. And so, then there's that. Now, after we get to a certain point where we have to, like, one of the main things that's kind of holding us up is it's been a monsoon.
Yeah, we have standing water everywhere.
Like I said in the Broussards live stream.
You said it right.
I know
the Broussards.
The Broussards.
The Broussards.
Live stream today. That I'm sick and tired of, like, whoever is doing the rain dance. Whoever is doing the rain dance.
You need to stop.
If you know who he is or who they are, hit them with a 2x4. They need to stop.
Blanket party.
My cows have water wings, and they're looking at me like they're crazy because their hooves and stuff are all out like this because there's so much water.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. We're having... Excuse me, I'm so
the
tired.
pigs got the USS Titanic life preserver around their waist, and they're a little nervous.
Yeah, we have to be really careful where we're driving around on the property because it's just...
Yeah. I mean, we had to go get a transfer pump for our septic system because the leach field has standing water in it now, and it is now feeding back through, and it burned up our old pump because the pressure was so bad, and we didn't get an alarm or anything. The pressure was, the water had nowhere to go, and it just burnt the pump up. So now I am refusing to put the new
sump pump in.
$200 sub pump in until we get a bunch of dry days and the water level goes down.
Yeah.
And because I'm not gonna get another, even though
I'm not gonna have to replace
has a guarantee on it.
Yeah.
But because of the new OSHA laws, I can't go back to the store that I got it from and say, hey, I need a new one. No, you got to call a number, and then they have to mail you the Visa card for it, and then you can go in and get a new one. So I could be without a pump for 2 or 3 months.
Time changes tonight. You'll lose an hour of rain. That's funny.
I hope so.
So somebody asked, what are we going to do in the garden? We've got we've got a lot going on that we have to pull and replant. As far as the arches go,
No, stop. Time out. You are not going to dance around what you've done. You have every right to be excited and happy, and you do not get to go, oh yeah, we're going to pull some stuff and we're going to... No. Girl, you have been rocking and rolling, and you have been kicking the spring garden thing into full effect. Y'all, her seed room, she needs to do... Hey, raise your hand. Give us a little thumbs up, raise your hand, fist bump emoji, something. If you agree with me that Robyn needs to do an update on her seed starting room. What you mean,
There's not really much to say in there. It's a jungle. That's about it. Like, it's just...
What do you mean?
Whoops on the stick. That's funny. Yeah, it's crazy. That's too quiet for Robyn. Am I going to get a Marco tomorrow, Robyn? I need to see this. Oh, well, yeah. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty busy in there. So I did the math. I'll tell you this much, and then I'll do a video. I did...
Is that shrimp?
Yeah. I did the math on how far back we needed to start planting tomatoes and peppers. And what I didn't take into account is that I forgot that we're keeping our room at 95 degrees. Now, if anybody knows anything about growing peppers and tomatoes, you know that is like ideal.
Mm-hmm.
Ideal temperature for growing tomatoes and peppers. So where if you would look on the back of a packet and see that the normal germination rate...
Not just any packet.
Baker Creek.
But your Baker Creek packets.
If you look on the back of your Baker Creek...
And you can get your Baker Creek packets at rareseeds.com.
If you look at the back of those, you'll see where it's a suggested germination rate of like 7 to 10 days, something like that. My tomatoes were up in like 3 days. Like they weren't like little sprouts. They were like... And I've had to replant them now twice because they're like trees. So we've got that going on. We've got eggplant. There's all kinds of stuff. So I'll do an update and take y'all in there. My biggest challenge right now is keeping everything alive for a couple of weeks before, because we have to, it's one of those things, because it's as warm as it is in there, we have to constantly keep water, because a lot of the water doesn't actually go to the plants. It gets what's the word?
No, it goes up there, but because it's so warm, they are...
What's the word? No,
You're thinking of evaporation.
Yes,
but...
some of it evaporates. So that's part of the problem. So we have to water them a little bit more than you would if you had them, say in the ground or something like that. So anyway, that's the only challenge that we've had. Yeah, they've gotten leggy, but the thing with leggy is, and I don't know how many people know this, but you can actually take care of that on a tomato plant. So we've taken
you just
care
plant
of
them
that.
deeper, which gives them a bigger and stronger rootstock.
Yeah.
So I want to take this time out for a second. I want to call time out for a second, and I want to say something, and I mean this with all of my heart. I want to take this opportunity right now. There's 49 people in this chat. And I want to tell all 49 of y'all, I absolutely love my wife, and I adore my wife, and she is my absolute best friend, and I am so proud of her for doing what she's doing with the garden. But I also want to take this time, and I want to say a huge thank you, a huge pouring of gratitude to McMurray Hatchery. McMurray Hatchery came on as a sponsor of our channel this year, and my wife and the folks at McMurray had huge conversations about chickens and about baby chickens. Today was the first day in the history of us having a homestead and us having chickens that my wife walked through Tractor Supply and said, my birds are better. I'm not wasting another moment here. We were in and out of Tractor Supply during Chick Days in a record time of 5 minutes.
Yeah, I turned my nose up.
I am so happy. This is the first time ever during Chick Days, and it's all because of you, McMurray, that my wife walked out of Tractor Supply with 0 chickens.
Yep. Because I looked at him and I was like, my chickens are beautiful. Like, and I hate that I haven't been able to post anything for y'all, but I don't know. I think it's because of the way we have everything set up. Like, whenever I open the door and close the door, like, they're very flighty. Like, they'll run, and I think part of it's because of how much room they have. So, like, they'll run to one side, and then I'll open up the lid, and they'll run to the other side. And so it's very, very, very difficult right now for me to get pictures of them. I will grab, and I'm sure any of you that have followed us on Instagram will see that I have favored, because I do have a favorite breed right now, called the Mottled Houdan. And they're awesome because they have this little tuft on the top of their head, and then they have these little tufted cheeks, and they're awesome. And the only thing, though, is even them, they love to just jump and fly. And so I had to take her outside because it was nice today. The sun was still out. So I took one of them outside and I put her down with the kale. And she kind of just walked around and kind of nipped at everything. And so I took her outside and took a picture of her. But I haven't been able to take really good, like the quality pictures that you see some people take. I just have not been able to do that yet. No. But I imagine once we get them outside, I'll be able to because I'm telling y'all, and Paul loved to pick on me about this, but some of these chickens are beautiful. There are some that have this like slate blue color and brown, and like they're just gorgeous. Yeah. So I'm excited. And then on top of that, we chose them. The very first part of the choice was they had to be like, they have a scale of like good, better, best, or something like that. So they had to be, I chose to choose of the 2 top, like whatever their choices were, the 2 top layers of the 2 top rankings of layers. And then I went from there and chose based on egg color. And then from there, chose which ones were pretty. Because I could do that. I was afforded a little bit of leeway on that. And so we have some just plain, black ones and some plain red ones. But we have like these mottled Houdans, and we've got some, we actually have I think it's a speckled Sussex out there right now in the chicken pen. But yeah, I like pretty chickens. Paul calls them vanity chickens. Yes. So yeah, he and I went back and forth about this. And then of course he wanted to pick on what tomatoes I picked and peppers I picked. But, at the end of the day, they make me super happy, and they don't, and somebody just put in the chat that I didn't want to contaminate my brood. And that's pretty much, exactly what it was, because one of the things that went through my head is I know that you can't mix ages. Like when you bring home chicks, you can't put young chicks with older chicks. And so I didn't want to, I knew that getting them would mean that I would have to put them in somewhere else. And it wasn't worth that effort because I knew that I was super happy with what I had. So that was really,
you guys
really
don't
cool.
understand. See, right now she's BSing because she never once, ever worried about where chickens were going to go when she went into Tractor Supply. She would come home and she would start flirting, like hardcore flirting with me, y'all. Before we were even serious dating, you know, when you're just talking to the one that you're gonna get to know, and you're doing that hardcore flirting, and she's coming up and batting her eyes, and oh, I love playing with my beer, I just love you, and then I hear it in the car in the back of the Prius, teep 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 teep, and I'm like, argh. And you open it up, and there's like 200 birds back there. I got video proof.
I think the most I ever brought home was 100 at a time. Because I brought home 100, and then I brought home like another 100.
The same day.
No, it was like a week later or something
like
that.
I got video proof. Go back in there, in the videos. It's there.
Anyway.
Just ask to family. They know. But anyway. I'm not being silly and just trying to throw a sponsor out there at y'all. I am honestly, y'all, that's taken a load of stress and went, whew, because Robyn would get in the habit of, she would go into Tractor Supply and she didn't like what she saw about how they were keeping them or the way that they were being treated, and she would, whatever money she had in her purse, wham, that's what she was spending on chickens. And she would come home with 100, 200 birds and then look at me and go, build them something. And then do her little booty shake as she was walking away. Like that was going to make it better.
Yeah, baby, I need another coop.
Yeah.
Well, really, to be fair, that's kind of where we're at. Because after these layers feather out and it starts to get warmer, then it's going to be time for broilers.
Yep.
So, and we were talking about that today. I was like, okay, so we've only got a couple weeks before we're going to be knee deep in broilers. And so, so that's kind of where I'm at, is all my babies they're growing up. They're all kind of juvenile-ish now. Yeah. And they're really, really cool.
So, guys, if your wife has a chicken addiction and can't go to Tractor Supply without buying chickens, you will save a ton of money. Go to McMurray.com. Pick out 20, 30 birds. Bring them. They're high-class birds. They're super healthy, and they just are great birds. And you, too, will have a 5-minute shopping time at Tractor Supply. I am so tickled about that.
Yeah, it was definitely different, because I kind of looked around and like even they had some broilers that were on sale, but then I looked at them and I'm like, these don't even look like broilers. Did you see them?
Nope.
They're like white.
The fact that you kept on walking, and so did I.
They were white and they had some color on their feathers, and I was like, what kind of broilers are these? Like, that's the other thing, is sometimes, the way that they label stuff and things like that is just, it's a nightmare. So, so that was kind of the thing, is I know exactly what I'm getting from McMurray. I know that they're going to be healthy. I know that, they're going to be they're from good stock. I'll tell you a funny story though, real quick. I didn't do my research on my favorite bird, which was the mottled Houdan. And we picked him up the other day and was looking at him, and LaDessa was like, Mom, what's wrong with these chicks? And I'm like, what's wrong with what chicks? She's like, they have an extra toe. And I'm like, well, maybe it's just, sometimes that stuff happens, sprout a leg and things like that. So I was like, oh, don't worry about it. So then we picked them up again today, and I looked, and it's all of them. All 3 of them have this extra toe. And so I was like, well, let me look at the catalog and see if they say anything about it. And sure enough, if you read the description on their catalog, it says something about them having a 5th toe. So I'm going to post a picture on Instagram for you to see it. It's actually pretty cool. There is an extra toe in there. And it kind of reminds me of like the extra dew claw that Gizmo has. You know, it's an extra toe. So it's kind of neat looking once you realize that it's supposed to be there. So that's kind of cool too, knowing that it's true to its breed, that extra toe is there, you know. So yeah, so the question was, or the statement was, Wonderlust said they only have 6 chickens and they have more eggs than they can eat. We're starting to ramp up right now, and so right now we're pulling.
What do we pull today?
Almost 2 dozen eggs a day. And of course, that will more than double when these girls start to lay. However, by the time they all get out to start laying, the 6 that are in, or the 5 that are in the chickens, will probably be on their way out. I think they will be.
They'll have one more season.
So then whatever we'll do is, you know, we'll sell what we can, and, you know, if we need to stir them up and freeze them, we can do that too.
Barter.
But yeah, barter is definitely a thing. So we'll have extra eggs to be able to barter with. So, all right. Well, it's 9:22. So
we got a lot going on, and we should be able to get back in the swing of things, back in the schedule of being able to get videos out and stuff. And we're going to get back to our routine of doing things and really kind of working it again. And my last class, I graduated with 100 average. I'm on track this class to graduate with another 100 average. So, super excited about it.
So, Broussard wants to know, how are we preserving our abundance of eggs? We're not. We're eating them.
We're eating them.
Like today, we made a huge batch.
On your live stream, I was eating the egg salad.
Yeah, we made a huge batch of egg salad for lunch today. We're having eggs for breakfast in the morning. So, we're definitely consuming quite a few eggs right now. Mm-hmm. So, we don't really have an abundance because there are 4 of us. So, it does take quite a few eggs just to make one breakfast in the morning. So, you know, that's 8 to 10 eggs, just the 4 of us. So that's, you know, half a pickup. So thanks for the live tonight. And yes, more on the garden, Robyn. Yeah, okay, got it.
Yep. And so with big plans for 2020, when we are doing our best to live completely sustainable, Robyn's going to give you guys an updated video and tell you what we've succeeded at, what we have failed at so far. And so be looking for that one. And be looking for more of those type of things coming out. I'm going to have some educational videos coming out here pretty soon. And so, guys, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us tonight. And I guess we will see you guys next week. So, Robyn and I, like always, want to say, plant smiles.
Grow giggles.
Build a cow shed. Build a quail hutch. I don't watch your channel.
And harvest the hogs.
And harvest the hogs. So, plant smiles, grow giggles, and harvest the love.
And a bow update. Got it.
We'll do it. Bow update. So, you guys, thank you so much. Recycle, reuse, repurpose. Keep stuff out of the landfill. Y'all be safe out there with Red Dragon. And y'all have a wonderful, wonderful night. We'll see you guys next time.
Good night, y'all.